everybody. We're back again. This time we're going to talk some college
football.
We have already been through 4 weeks of college football
and we're heading
already.
into week 5.
We're heading into week 5. Man, college football is flying by. But we have had some good college football. But what we're going to do, since we've already went through week 4, we need to talk about the winners
And the losers.
and the losers of week 4. And then we'll jump into week 5 and we'll tell you who we think are going to be the winners
And the losers.
and the losers of week 5. But first, let's go ahead and recap week 4. Now, who's number 1 again? We always talk about the top 15 teams, who they're playing, and what we think is going to happen in the game. And,
Alabama.
Alabama's number 1. I forgot. Like they haven't been number 1 for 14 years now. They played Southern Miss and beat them by 49.
I
was just checking my glasses. They beat them by 49. Yeah, so
that's Alabama.
That's exactly what Alabama was supposed to do. That wasn't a surprise there. We had number 2 Georgia playing
the stuffing out of
Vanderbilt. I think they were favored by what was 48. I think they were favored, and we said, they'll probably beat them by 48.
But they beat them by 62.
Well, they were wrong. They beat them by 62. 62 to nothing. They couldn't even get close enough for a girl to try a field goal. Poor Vanderbilt
had less than 100 yards of offense.
I don't know how they got 100 yards of offense, to be honest.
That was terrible.
That was
That
terrible.
is a contender for our stinker.
That was 62 to nothing, and
getting walloped.
Oregon is number 3.
And they took care of.
They took care of Arizona. And how many games in a row has Arizona lost now?
20.
Not 5, not 10, not 15, but
20 losses.
they've lost 20 straight games, dude. How can you lose 20 straight games?
Maybe if you're a poorly run program.
Vanderbilt has won a game since Arizona has. And they just lost by 62. I mean, we got some stinkers, man. Oklahoma almost hair their chin. Almost lost to West Virginia.
They look overrated.
I think they are a little over. They scored 16 points.
And Spencer Rattler got booed.
I think Spencer Rattler, he's a good quarterback, but he's not
MVP level.
I think he would be good if you just didn't have Jalen Hurts
and Baker Mayfield.
And Baker Mayfield. That's the last 2 quarterbacks that's been there. So you come in as Spencer Rattler and you're like, I'm just as good as Baker Mayfield and just no, you're not. You're a pretty good quarterback, but no, you're not as good as those. No. So, and I think Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, and Kyler Murray was also there in between.
Oh yeah, Kyler Murray. Yeah, think about all that. So
Spencer Rattler's has.
I don't think he's going to win the Heisman this year. I don't think so. So, but yeah, Oklahoma is a little highly over. I think over ranked there. Number 5 was Iowa. They did their job. I'm not overly confident in Iowa, but they beat Colorado State by 10. They were supposed to beat Colorado State. They beat Colorado State. So they're still number 5 in the country. I don't think that they stay there. I think their schedule will eventually overtake them, and they'll lose a couple games. They'll probably still end up in the top 20, maybe 18 or something, but I don't think they stick in the top 5. But that's just me. We had Penn State take on Villanova and beat them by 21. So Penn State did their job. Penn State, honestly, we got to give them credit. We make fun of Penn State in big games because he loses a lot of the big games. But he's won 2 big games this year. Needed to beat Villanova. Could have been a trap game. Beat Villanova by 21. So the Penn State actually might have a decent team this year. Give them, we give.
But the meme will not die.
No, the meme will not die. And then we had maybe the game of the week. We had number 7 Texas A&M
get crushed by
taking on Arkansas, and we called the upset, straight up upset, not points, but straight up upset, and Arkansas laid it to them. We said if Arkansas would have started out in the top 15, they would have been a top 5 team going into this Texas A&M game. It would have been a number 5 versus number 7. So Arkansas went in.
What amazed me?
Kudos to Sam Pittman.
He is one of the most underrated head coaches, Sam Pittman. He's turned around the entire Arkansas program.
In what, 2-3 years?
2 years.
In 2 years, he's got him in the top of the SEC.
2 years, only 2 years.
Fantastic.
And
So kudos to Arkansas.
Arkansas's defensive line got home with just 3 rushers.
You know, we need to check up on who's coaching their defensive line because I don't remember who is coaching it.
Barry Odom.
Oh, that's right, Barry Odom. That's why they got a good guy. Barry Odom's a good coach. So they got a good defensive coach, and Sam Pittman come in. I think offensive linemen make some of the best coaches out there
Because they understand the physical
understand
element.
the offense. They've seen every play. They've seen every block. They've seen every scheme. They've seen the game.
They've seen everything. And Sammy
The next best would be a quarterback as far as seeing the entire game.
I'm gonna call Sam Pittman the hog.
He's the head hog, the head hog out there in Arkansas. But honestly, he is
Good win for that program. I mean, Arkansas's really rose lately.
They are, yeah. Number 8 did not play this week, so we will jump on down to number 9, which was formerly number 9,
Clemson.
Clemson.
Their offense has looked shockingly bad.
We also called this one, we said, NC State. We took NC State and the points because it was in NC State. Clemson was looking bad. And I knew in the back of my head there was a danger that Clemson could even lose this. And
they did.
They lost it straight up
in
overtime.
Could have been ended earlier.
NC State, if they could hit a field goal, would have won in regulation, but still, I mean, they came out and their defense held them, and Clemson is now no longer a top 10 team.
It's been so long since that's happened now. It's been so long that we've talked about Clemson. It's going to feel weird not being able to really...
Yeah, we talk about the top 15. Next week, we won't be able to talk about Clemson.
Unless they play a top 15 opponent.
Unless they play a top-tier opponent, which they're not anymore. We'll jump on to number 10. Number 10 was Ohio State. They
actually doing their job.
Yeah, Akron is really bad. And they beat them 59-7, which is what they needed to do there, too. They needed to go ahead and get healthy a little bit and show that you could do some offense. And
that's what the Buckeyes did. The
Buckeyes. And honestly, Akron is a pretty good team. We had, speaking of bad teams, we had Tennessee go to Florida, and Tennessee
got smashed.
Yeah, Florida's favored by 19. We said, it's going to be more than 19. And it ended up being 24. So, and honestly, I'm not going back to Tennessee. I love Tennessee. Tennessee is my favorite team. I bleed orange all day long. And Tennessee did show some signs there of
improvement.
They did not give up playing, which happened in the past. All 4 quarters, they actually tried. They were trying. They were working. They were taking coaching. They were trying. So I think when Tennessee gets some more talent,
they're young and undisciplined.
They're young and undisciplined, and I think they're still struggling to find identity at quarterback. So,
but Florida has found their identity, and it's in the run game.
It is in the run game. Yeah. Florida doesn't have a fantastic quarterback either. But we'll jump on to number 12, Notre Dame at Wisconsin. That was just my surprise of the week. First of all, Notre Dame probably a little bit better than what I was thinking they were, but more than that, Wisconsin is worse than what I thought they were.
Graham Mertz.
They want me to call you struggling, man.
Can I want to give him the Carson Wentz treatment. Graham Mertz, like Graham Ince.
You'll go ahead and take off the M until he gets the upside down W. I don't know. He just does.
I mean, he's
struggling. The Badgers are struggling this year. We thought they were going to be a top 10 team,
but I don't
think they may drop out of the top 25 if they don't do something.
I think they already have, but Notre Dame is
Brian
Kelly is the story because Brian Kelly is now the winningest head coach in Notre Dame history.
In Notre Dame history, yeah, he has won more games than Newt Rockne.
Wow,
more than Lou Holtz. Yeah, he is the number one winning this coach. And that's really something, but it doesn't seem like something because Notre Dame hasn't won a title under him.
But they went to the playoff in 2018 and 2020.
They went to the playoffs and played pretty good there, just couldn't get it done. So if he could top that off with a national championship, then
he would be in the echelon.
He would be in the echelon of
Notre
coaches.
Dame's defense looks pretty fast, though.
They do, yeah.
They got 2 pick sixes in the 4th quarter.
Which definitely helped. Didn't they actually score more points on defense than Wisconsin scored on offense?
Correct.
That's pretty bad when the defense scores more than your offense does. Yeah. Number 13. I don't think number 13 played either. So we'll go ahead and jump into number 14, which was Iowa State, and they will no longer be in the top 25 either.
Because Iowa State got beat.
We also told you this one. Don't be surprised if Baylor
Wins this game.
wins the game.
And Baylor did win the
And
game.
Baylor won it straight up, and actually rather easily. It wasn't much of a contest. I mean, it got down to 2 points at the end, but Baylor was the better team. Baylor was just the better
Iowa
team.
State's really disappointed this
They
year.
have, yeah. And like I said, they will no longer be in there. And jumping up into number 15 is BYU. They played South Florida. They jumped on them and hammered them quick, but they let the Bulls come back a little bit. I don't know. That could be a problem for them in the past. If you don't have that killer instinct, if you get up 35-10, then you win 56-13. You don't let them come back to within one score. They let the Bulls come back, a bad Bulls team come back a little bit. So BYU's still good. They're still in the top 15, but might be some problems there in the future. All right, let's go ahead and jump into week 5.
And Friday we have Iowa traveling to Maryland, who hasn't lost a football game.
We've actually got 2 Friday ranked games, so we'll go ahead and jump into those and talk about those. We won't go 1 to 15 here. We're going to talk about the Friday games first because we got some Friday ranked football. How many times did you get ranked teams on Friday?
Unless you wanted to eat some French fries.
Not that good, not that much. So we got number 5 Iowa. Like I said, they're still number 5. And they're going to Maryland.
Maryland hasn't lost a football game. That's a trap.
That's a trap game if there was ever a trap game. So we got 4-0 versus 4-0.
I'll pick Iowa, but I won't be surprised if Maryland pulls an upset.
No, you've got to pick Iowa here because they're number 5. But yeah, don't be surprised if Maryland pushes them there a little bit. And then we got BYU, who jumped from 15 up to 13, taking on Utah State.
BYU should win.
Yeah, they're at Utah State, but BYU should beat them. I would say probably 10 plus points. Let's go ahead and jump into Saturday's games. We'll just go ahead and take these as they're going to, not 1 through 15, but just how they're laying out from noon on. We may have the game of the week. We got Arkansas, number 8 Arkansas now, a top 10 team like they should have been, going to
number 2 Georgia. That's
Georgia.
going to be
a top 10 matchup, dude. In Georgia. Can Georgia handle Arkansas? Can Arkansas keep the momentum they've got right now? I think Georgia's the better team.
Georgia is the better team. They should win this football
game. They
game.
should win this game.
I think Arkansas is really a year away from... They're showing a lot of potential now to be what they could be in the future, but I think it's a year away for the Razorbacks.
So I definitely think Georgia wins, but the line is 18.5 points.
That's stupidly ridiculous.
I don't think Georgia wins by 18.5 points over Arkansas because their defense is fairly good, and Georgia's offense
is wishy-washy.
It was wishy-washy. I think the defense on both of these teams
will carry them.
Will carry it. So I'll actually take an Arkansas plus 18.5. Could be wrong.
Arkansas is a very good team this year. So
I'm big on Arkansas right now. I saw this coming after game 1. We watched that game a little bit. And I was like, that ain't a bad team.
They whipped Texas at home, and they beat Texas A&M.
And then after Texas, they actually swept the state of Texas. Beat every Texas team they played on there. So
the hog who cannot be rode by the cowboy.
No, so
Arkansas is a very good team this year. It'll take a lot for Georgia to beat them.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think Georgia could beat them by 10 to 12 points, 10 to 13 points. But 19 points, 18.5, that's 19 points. That's basically, you're beating them by 3 touchdowns.
I think that's ridiculous.
I'm gonna take Arkansas plus 18.5. We got number 14 Michigan. Michigan's back up into the top.
Bigger
15.
Game Jim is
Bigger
returned.
Game Jim is playing at Wisconsin.
And I think the Michigan wins.
Wisconsin's favored by 1, but yeah, I'm gonna take Michigan plus that 1.
With Graham Ince.
Wisconsin's letting me down a little bit, and Michigan's not fantastic, but they're 4-0.
Yep, that's where Michigan wants.
4-0. Okay, we got the other top 10 match. We got 2 top 10 matchups this week, which is just great college football. We got number 7 Cincinnati
coming off the bye week at Notre Dame.
At Notre Dame.
Number 9
now. So we've got a number 7 versus
9.
a number 9. This is going to be a fantastic game.
This is going to be a really good game.
Cincinnati is actually favored by 2.5 points at Notre Dame.
Would you pick the Bearcats off the bye week, or would you pick the Irish?
I don't know. Do you pick the Irish off of the high that they just had, or the Bearcats off the rest that they just got?
I think Notre Dame has had the tougher schedule, and I think that might lead them to a victory here.
I would probably pick Notre Dame too. I'm leaning towards Notre Dame just because I think they might be a little bit more of a seasoned team right now. So we've actually got plus 2.5. So we'll go Notre Dame plus 2.5 there. We got Ole Miss, number 12 Ole Miss. Almost another top 10 team. Number 12.
It's been a while since Ole Miss has been in the top 15.
Going to Alabama. Man, that's going to be a good game too. Alabama's favored by 14.5.
Nick Saban's undefeated against his former employees, and Lane Kiffin is one of his former employers.
Mm-hmm, yeah, 14 points is right there too. I think it might be like a 13-point game.
Ole Miss's offense though is pretty dangerous.
It might be, yeah. I think it might be like a 45 to 32, 45 to.
That'd be a high scoring.
45 to 35. I think it's over, but. That one's sort of dangerous for me to pick right now. 14.5, I think it's about really what it's going to be. So, just because it's Alabama, I'd probably take Alabama minus the 14.5. Just because it's Alabama. Just because it's at Alabama. So, if I was pushed to it, I would probably push that way. But again, don't be surprised if Ole Miss pulls that line. We got number 3, Oregon taking on Stanford. That's Oregon
should be taken. The Ducks should quack on.
That should be 10 plus points there. Yeah, we got Oklahoma at K-State.
Oklahoma should win this game.
Oklahoma should win that one too. They should win it by 10 to 15 points, but will they?
Will they? That's the question.
Which Rattler shows up? Is the Rattler going to be fangless? Is he going to be gumming them, or is he going to actually be able to strike?
Yep.
We don't know there. We got Ohio State taking on Rutgers. Rutgers is not bad. They're 3-1, but I still think Ohio State
Ohio State has the better team.
Yeah, and we got number 10 Florida taking on Kentucky.
Kentucky is unbeaten. That could be a trap.
I think that is a trap game. Florida is favored by 8.
Would you want to pick Florida with 8 points there?
I know. I think I'm gonna take Kentucky plus 8.
You want to take Kentucky plus 8?
Plus 8. I think Florida, again, probably wins, but it might be more like a 31-27 game.
Yep.
I think it's like a 4-point game instead of an 8-point game. So we'll take Kentucky on that one. And again, don't be surprised if Kentucky wins the game either.
Because Kentucky is sneaky.
Kentucky, how many times has Kentucky beat Florida?
Like once in the past 40 years, since the gas was changed from like 85 cents.
Yeah, so this could be it. We got number 15 A&M. A&M has dropped to number 15, taking on Mississippi State.
They should beat Mississippi State. They should.
They should, yeah. We got Indiana at Penn State. That would be
big game, James.
I think I think this might be a game that he tries to prove himself a little bit too. I think
for James Franklin.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 15-plus game. And that is our top 15 for the week.
Yes.
We hope you had a little fun with us talking about college football. We've got some really good games this week.
There's probably going to be a lot of shifting in the standings.
Oh, yeah. We may be talking about some different teams. We're definitely going to be talking about a bunch of different teams. Clemson's not going to be in there. Miami. We're not going to talk about Miami or Florida State or Wisconsin or.
Speaking of which, let's get to our stinker of the week.
We have our stinker of the week still.
We have a couple of candidates.
We got a bunch of candidates actually.
Vanderbilt.
62-0.
Minnesota.
They lost to who?
Bowling Green, which Tennessee beat by 30.
So wait a minute here. I'm going to get this right. Now, Minnesota was favored by
10.5.
No, 30.
30.
They were favored by 30.5 points. And lost.
To Bowling
Green at home.
That's a team Tennessee beat by 30 earlier in the season.
Yeah, Tennessee beat that team by 30, and they were 30.5-point underdogs and went to
Minnesota,
a Big 10
team
and beat them at their house. Oh, that was bad.
That was bad too. Let's make this a three-way tie.
Okay, who's our third stinker?
Arizona.
Lose 20 in a row.
Oh, actually, there's 4. We get a 4-timer. Florida State, the first time since the 70s, they've been 0-4. So we got 4 stinkers this week. It's a 4-way tie.
Arizona losing 20 in a row. Florida State being the worst they have in how many years?
Since the 70s.
So 50 years. They've been the worst they have been in 50 years. Vanderbilt loses by 62
to a conference opponent.
And Minnesota loses by 30.5 at home. I mean, loses after being favored. Vanderbilt might be the best of those 4. What the flip? Vanderbilt's the best of those 4 sucking teams. Because they only lost by 62.
Let's toot the horns of failure.
That was bad. Anyway, that is college football this week. We hope you had some fun with us. Be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, leave us some comments. Share us with your friends. And hit the creepy baby button over here. Other than that, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.